Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Thursday, February 23rd, and the PLL is back. We've got Championship Series going on this week down in DC. I'm Jordie from Barstool, and with me, with boots on the ground in DC for the first couple nights of action in the PLL Championship Series, we've got Doogs. Doogs, what's going on, brother? Looks like you're set up at the hotel there. We just got a workout in. You're just down there grinding, getting that content for the boys.
Yeah, I think that a misconception is when you advertise for weeks on weeks that you're gonna be doing bottomless beers in the beer garden. People are like, "Is this just a vacation?" No, I mean you got to put the work in. You got to work out. Me and Billy have been getting pumps in. But yeah, so far from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be a very fun event. I'm very excited. I think that me and you have kind of loosely talked about like how excited can you really get for like a mid-season tournament of this caliber. But it was nice to see some of the players. It was nice to see some runs last night. And I'll tell you what, the facility that they're playing at is legitimately the nicest thing I've ever. And I can't speak for the PLL, but if they do this event again, they have to go. Like they have like two ice hockey rinks, basically like an Equinox, a full field. Blown away by the facility.
So it's just like a full-fledged like compound down there just for.
Now that I think about it, like. It's crazy that they might have not even considered having the bubble there for like the PLL in like the 2020. Like it's that nice.
Dude, I've always thought about it like getting a job at a place like that like must just be so set. Like who knows like what the pay is to like just be like an employee at a facility like that, but like whatever it is, like dude, that's got to be. You just go around all day. You've got a bunch of indoor fields to work at, a bunch of hockey rinks, a gym. Like what more could you're just having a blast. It's basically like a fantasy factory if what you're saying sounds right.
Yeah, and I've always wondered this, and obviously it's like if you're like in banking, it's like why don't you just like work at like Goldman Sachs or something. Like it's not that easy. But I've always wondered, like, no disrespect to Planet Fitness or anything, but like if you're gonna work at a gym, you should try just to work at the nicest gym you possibly can because you work out for free. Or try to go to the nicest gym that will let you work out there for free.
So yes, now to Planet Fitness's defense, one, it always feels great in there because they have those big ass fans. So
By the way, no disrespect
and you get like pizza nights like once a week. So
and yeah, I mentioned Planet Fitness because that's where I went. But like I was like, I remember like working out one time and I was just like, maybe I should just like work at Equinox, like the night shift. Like and just like see if you can like you don't have to pay me, but can I like work out like an hour before? Like there's just those gyms with like, I bet you Shido goes to a gym like that where it's like the treadmill. Do you know those treadmills that you just like you walk in, you're like that's a nice gym.
Yeah, oh, dude, if you have a gym where you have a treadmill that's like curved,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
The curved treadmill, like you're going in there and like everyone there is just like a beast.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like, did you see that tweet that it went off a little bit? Maybe it was like Rico's or something. It was like, what was one thing that your friends had when they were younger that like you just thought they were rich? And a lot of people were like an in-ground pool, trampoline. If you go to a gym that has I'm automatically guess that you have at least $500,000 in your bank account at like all times.
Yeah, that's just like the monthly payment for the gym.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a sick facility. So anyone who's heading down to DC, so we're recording this. It's Wednesday afternoon right now. So a couple hours before the championship series gets going. And then, by the time that you're listening to it, the first couple games will have already happened on Wednesday night. You're listening on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, anyone who's heading down, maybe you're heading down for the weekend, right? You've got the, couple games Friday night, semifinals Saturday night, championship on Sunday. So it looks like you've got a pretty sick facility to go to. And if you're heading down tonight, which is Thursday, Doogs, you'll be there doing round 2 of your meet and greet at the beer garden, correct?
Yeah,
bar down.
Let's not even call it a meet and greet because I don't want people to think that they have to. I'm going to meet or greet. We are going to have a blast. And again, if you're listening to this, I'm already going to speak for Wednesday. We just had the time of our lives Wednesday night. You potentially missed out on the best night in PLL history. People are going to be talking about the Bar Down Beer Garden for years to come. If you're in the area, if you're a college kid that's 21 or older, and if you like to watch lacrosse, I can't imagine turning down a deal for $25. $25 all you can drink. People in like 20 years from now, there was this, I think it was like a dollar beer night in Cleveland got banned in like 1976 because like just people got too rowdy. That's what's going to happen with the PLL. We're going to be talking about the bottomless beers at the PLL Championship Series, and we're going to be like, we can't do that anymore. Remember what happened in 23? And everyone's going to be like, yep, I was there.
And like, here's the thing too, because, you know, so these games are going to be a little quicker, right? We've got 8-minute quarters for these games. So they're going to be, the time's going to be moving fast, right? And you get a bunch of college kids in there, give them $25 to drink as much as they possibly can. Like they're going to be crushing that pace right there, because like you got to, like, I always try to, if I'm just having like a casual Saturday afternoon, maybe I sit down on the couch to watch some college lacrosse. You know, maybe I'll be like, all right, here, I've got my beer for the first half and I've got my beer for the second half. But if you're going bottomless beers and you've got 8 minutes, like you're dialed in on that clock, just trying to house as many as you can. The one thing that I'm a little bit worried about you. So on Thursday, right? So when people are listening to this on Thursday, and if they're heading down, so you just had the best time of your life on Wednesday night. You guys had a great time at the Bar Down Beer Garden. Are you a little bit nervous about the shampoo effect coming up for Thursday?
That we're going to have to double
so,
rinse?
Well, so the shampoo effect, if you're unaware, so you drink heavily the day before, and like, you know, when you take a shower and you rinse, you lather, and then the next time you go to lather up your hair, it takes significantly less shampoo to get all sudsy.
Oh.
So the same thing with drinking. Like it might have taken you 5 or 6 beers to start to get a real good buzz on Wednesday night. You still have all that in your system rolling into Thursday. You might be down and out for the count after 2 or 3.
Look, responsibly, I like to think of myself. We like to think of ourselves as a top 100 podcast for lacrosse, right? We've said this many times before. I also like to think of myself as not only a professional podcaster in the lacrosse industry, a professional booze bag. Nobody really. I can do it with the best of them. And by the best of them, the best thing about drinking, some might say, is, especially at like a guy like me growing up, it's who can drink the most. And the funny thing about drinking is whoever can drink the most, you think you're the winner, but you're not ever the winner. You're actually the loser of the whole thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting because I've had this thing when you see like stoolies or just like anybody, you see stoolies or divers out in the wild.
Viva baby.
Yeah, and they're like, and I see them at a bar. Hey, want to do a shot? Like 21-year-old me would be like, I have to take every shot that's ever offered to me for free. Since I started working, I was like, I have to start turning down shots. I'm gonna get too drunk. That's what I'm worried about for Billy in the beer garden. Because for everyone that listens to Part of My Take, they were talking about how Billy's gonna have to do like chug offs with people, and I'm like his babysitter this weekend. Babysit. I have to watch after someone else. I can't even watch over myself. Like now I have like responsibilities. I haven't had responsibility in my life, so I'm a little worried about that. I'm very, I think it's going to be very fun, and I hope that this is something that they can implement in the summer. I know it's going to depend venue to venue how they can do this, but I think that they really want to make this experience, the PLL in general, has very much catered to the younger audience, which I very much understand and very much respect. I really hope that our goal after this is to show that like this can be a fun event for the older crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good point. Like, yeah, you probably have to. It's probably way easier to start with getting the little kids in the door, right? Because all you have to do is show them a couple RJ vlogs, and they're already hooked on it. And then, you know, parents are just like, hey, like it's the middle of the summer. We've already gone on our vacation this summer. We need something to do to get these kids out of our hair. Let's just go to the game, bring a bunch of kids, let them run around and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, I get like starting off wanting to get that younger fan base just like hooked on it right away. But yeah, having like a full game day experience for the older crowd to get involved, should be good. So you and Billy are pioneers for this new expansion for the PLL. So also you're pioneers for the PLL beer. You had one of the very first PLL Crispy Boys.
It's classic. It's classic. Like, I compliment one thing, and it's like, how much did they pay you to like do that? So halfway through that video, I didn't even know that I was. If you haven't seen that video, check it out on my Twitter. I did a beer review on the first ever PLL beer. They got it from some like local brewery, but it was legitimately amazing. Because the thing is, I think when you go to like local brewers, if you're a beer, you don't want to do too much. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be like the tastiest, the IPA, the local brew, because like not everyone's like an IPA guy. The best compliment I could give you is if it's like as close to a Coors Light as possible. If that makes sense.
You want a people pleaser beer, a beer that no one's gonna find offensive.
Exactly. You're not breaking any records. Actually, I'll say this: it was very tasty and wasn't filling. So like it was in between. Like I wanted to almost compare it to a Miller Lite, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's like their whole motto is great taste, less filling.
But I don't like Miller Lite, so I couldn't say that. So it's tough.
I'm a big Diet Miller guy, so I'll say it for you. All right. Well, yeah. So obviously there's a lot to do and to see if you go down to these games in DC this weekend. But let's talk about a little actual lacrosse now. So you, Billy, and Jake, you guys got down there on Tuesday night. You guys were able to watch a couple scrimmages before everything gets started Wednesday night, going into this weekend. So, I mean, I like. So for me, sixes. I'm excited for this tournament because I really want to get sold on sixes. I think that maybe I'm not nearly as down on it as a lot of people are. Like a lot of people I've seen someone say that it like bastardizes the sport. And I'm not ready to like go there and say it's like the most horrific thing you could ever do to the game of lacrosse. I'm not also like sold on it where I'm like, hey, like this is like the best version ever. And thank God, like we're changing the game of lacrosse just to fit the Olympic Committee's like idea of what it should be. But I do think like this tournament could definitely swing me in the direction of, hey, this is actually like pretty sweet. So I'm excited to check it out. And I know that, talking with you right now, like you've actually got a chance to see some of it. So what did you think of those scrimmages last night?
So from boots on the ground, not to brag, again, boots, and talking to players and stuff, I think the one thing that we'll see is the conditioning. I think they were like they were saying that like a lot of people prepared for like a field game when it's much more like a basketball game. Suicides, conditioning, which made a lot of sense to me. Not as much transition as I thought. In the Atlas Archer scrimmage, I only saw like 2 or 3 transition goals. It'll be interesting. I think that overall, the game theory behind it, like how would you, like I think that they made some excellent points. Like when a person comes over the midfield line, you push them over, that's a half court violation. So like, do you trap people? Like the traps that you can implement. I was curious, like would anybody try to do like a full court press, like a zone press, like almost like a 10-man ride for sixes, which nobody really said that they did. Something that I kind of like think is cool. And then like something I didn't even realize in sixes is when you shoot the ball and it goes out of bounds, it's not closest to the ball. It's man down the field.
Yeah. So it's basketball.
It's easier for like the brain for like a simpleton that doesn't get lacrosse.
Yeah. Oh, well, how about this though? So what if, I guess we'll have to find out. You might not know this rule off the top of your head, but like, what if you rip one off the crossbar and then it goes,
yeah, that's a theory that the Archers, little inside, I think the Archers were doing that last night, is when it gets down to the shot clock, rip it at the shins, rip it at the feet.
Okay. If it goes off of if the shot gets deflected, then you can get the ball. All right. So yeah, so a lot of, it's basically just basketball. So whoever has the most basketball experience will be able to play the game.
Yeah, and I think something
the theory of the game the best.
Yeah, that's something that like I think that Greg Renlian kind of said like he likes the different rules of lacrosse. I understand why sixes is important to the growth of lacrosse, and I also get why people won't like sixes. I think that this will be really cool because not like the PLL different from sixes in the Olympic version. They have a 2-point arc. So we're going to look at like 25-20 games, obviously. There's going to be a lot of goals. Like Vegas can't even, like the Barstool Sportsbook, like we don't even know how many goals there's going to be. So we don't even offer the over-under right now. I think that people are going to be very wiped out. I think it's going to come down to who's got the athletes, who's got the guns. It was pretty impressive.
What was the substitution looking like? Because I mean, there are only 12 guys on each roster, so like, you know, I mean, a lot of guys are probably going to get stuck out there for a while.
I saw Grant Amon stuck out there for a while last night, which is like it's interesting to see because like they're just called like field players or goalies. The face-off is interesting because it's just like you could be like around the circle. So like obviously I think like because you could get a transition goal, right? Like you know, there's going to be transition goals, just like there's fast break layups, and like you have to think about it in the sense of like, in my opinion, like you have to think about it in basketball. Like, how many fast break layups could you see like a game? If there was like 6, like if there's 6 fast break layups in a game, I don't think anybody will be like, wow, this basketball game sucks. But I feel like if there's like 6 fast break goals in sixes, a lot of lacrosse fans right away are going to make this sucks, which I disagree with.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't cherry pick. You can't cherry pick because if you start to cherry pick, like they'll just like draw people back.
Right. I think that you could probably. I don't know. You think that they would drop someone back instead of just going on a 5-on-4 the whole like let's say Grant Amon gets stuck out there for a couple minutes at a time, and all of a sudden like first of all, he's probably not going to do way too much defensively anyway. So let's say, all right, boys, let's go man down a little bit here, and we'll just leave Grant back, and then hope that one of our new goalies gets Krebs gets a stop here. Just quick little outlet down to him for an easy dunk. I mean,
it's the game. Like I said, it's a game. It's the. I've been trying to think for the past like 24 of like just the different game theories that you could have with sixes. Like I would like to see. I don't think any of the coaches right now. I'm sure they've. I mean, obviously they've thought about it, but just it's almost like who's going to be the coach that revolutionizes sixes and gets the most out of American players? Like, it's nice how the Chaos and Water Dogs aren't in this, actually, in my opinion. It has a lot of Canadians that could take it over. A lot of them are in box, so it's nice how it's a lot of Americans. There is, like, I wonder, like, how a basketball coach or, like, how would a basketball coach approach sixes? Do you know what I'm saying? Would they have
a basketball coach or a Canadian?
Yeah, I think – so here's my thing with the Canadians. I think that they just have a head start in everything. Because it's most – but, like, their sets, their offenses, their defenses, like how much is it just really just the talent from box to actually like their like set plays, their like strategy? Like, do they have a strategy or are they just really talented in close quarters? Do you know what I'm saying by that?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's
like the Steph Curry. Who's going to be like the Steph Curry or who's going to be like the Phil Jackson that like is like, oh, we're going to implement the triangle offense.
It's a good. I mean, I think enough of these guys. Like, did it look like boxing? Like, was it a lot of 2-man stuff in these scrimmages, or mostly just kind of?
I think that they just had concepts from. I think that that's what I'm saying though. They I think they all stuck to similar concepts that they're used to. So right. Like 2-man game, but like my personal opinion is like who's going to be the coach or who's going to be someone that sees this and is like, all right, this is what I would do. And just like have like a different approach to it. Like even like I'm thinking basketball because it's just very similar to basketball from what I noticed. Like Loyola Marymount in like the 90s, they were just like, we're going to do a run and gun offense, and they would beat teams 140 to 130, and people would be like, that's college basketball where like nobody did that in college basketball. Like it's 50 to 48. So the fact that one team in the 90s was winning 140, 130, like the different it's like the air raid offense.
So yeah, so I mean, so that's what I would kind of expect the Archers to be like this week. Like, if I had to take a guess on like how each team should do, like Archers, I feel like they're gonna come into this tournament and like it's gonna be a pissing match. Like it's gonna be a sprint to see who can just tear down the net the fastest. Just looking at their roster, like there's not, there are guys like Jared Connors there, who I think will be perfectly fine. Put a short stick in his hands and will be really good defensively and in transition and shit like that. But I mean, that roster to me just screams like it's going to be run and gun, and hopefully they just score 1,000,000 goals while the other team scores 999,000 goals. I don't know, man. I love and I know I think I saw you say this as well, but I love the Atlas heading into this tournament. I think out of all the rosters, I think that they have the best collection of guys who can go both ways. Just like dude, and even a guy like a Jay Caraway, like I think that he's not known right. He's an attackman. Like no one's ever going to be like, oh yeah, like that. I can see him being a great defensive player in this dude, but he rides like a son of a bitch. He plays that game with, just like a nice little asshole edge to him. So I think that, he'd be good both ways. Costabile, Doc Aiken, like big bodies who can get back and D up a little bit.
Ready for one? Ready for one that you have? Romar Dennis.
I was just about to get to Romar Dennis.
Well, no, because it's the one thing that I noticed with the field is that it's obviously 13 yards. When you cross, like when you have someone like him who crosses the field,
he has two strides, and
we talk about it in the PLL regular game how like you kind of have to be a threat over him. It's right away. It's crazy. So like he's someone that could just like. I agree with you with the Atlas.
Now the whip snakes, like are they missing Rambo? Are they missing Zed because they're playing in the NLL season? Obviously losing Burnlore is going to hurt a lot, but look at like guys like Gutty and Brad Smith, like they at least have some experience with sixes, right? Like they were both on the USA roster for the World Games over this past summer. So like they at least, I think that they're like the only two guys in this tournament who have actual sixes experience. So that should help them out a little bit. Obviously Ty Warner is one of the better two-way guys in the game. Roman Puglisi, like it's not like, a lot of these guys, you take a long pole out of their hands and you give them a regular size stick. Like, is it going to make them a little less effective as defenders? Maybe. Roman Puglisi, not going to change what he does at all. He's one of the best short stick defenders in the game. So, I mean, I think that the whips. So, I mean, just looking at this right now. So this is, obviously on Wednesday, I guess these could change a little bit after the first night of action, but just heading into it, whip snakes are the favorites here to win it all in the Barstool Sportsbook at plus 190, Archers at plus 240, same as the Atlas, and then Chrome down there at plus 350. I kind of like the Chrome. I like that juice though for the Chrome.
I like that.
They're bringing a lot. Dude, they've got a lot of beef. A lot of beef in this lineup.
Scanoni looks good. And I you know what it is about? So I said this, Pseudo, even like last year, he's like, I like the makeup of our team. Like, last year, and we were kind of like, I think I bought the juice on the Chrome, but like I understood why people didn't. He said the same. He said he really likes the makeup for the Sixers roster, and initially I was like, I'm kind of getting sold on it. And
it's a lot of beef.
Yes, and there's also on the Barstool Sportsbook today, Wednesday, if this drops early and you're on YouTube and you're in a legal state and you're a legal age, we're putting out a promo. I think we're going to do Atlas and Chrome to win today. So Atlas moneyline, Chrome moneyline, parlayed. I really like it. I think the Chrome just might have some dogs, and I think that it'll be interesting too. And if Billy kind of brought this up, and I fucking hate agreeing with Billy on this. I really fucking hate it, but he made a good point. Goalies are going to see a lot of shots, right? Almost in a box sense with less pads. Obviously, more goals. So that's why I think goalie wise, like I really like Scanoni and I really like Jack and Cannon.
Yeah, but here's the thing that so I don't want to. I like both of the tandems that both the Atlas and the Chrome have because they are going to see a lot of shots and it's going to be 5 days in a row. So like
Backup play.
Yeah, so backups are definitely going to be in play, and I love Owen McElroy, and then obviously got to give some love to our boy Drake Porter down there.
Dude, he hasn't said hi to me yet.
Wow, a little trouble in paradise.
He hasn't said hi to me yet.
Has he had the opportunity to? Has it been cold shoulder season?
No, it hasn't. I haven't. I haven't said hi to him either.
Did we change the password to the Instagram account and we've locked him out? Maybe he's a little upset about that.
Yeah, I think I changed the password to Q sucks 123.
No,
but I think Drake I've seen him from like afar. I'm still waiting to just grab him for a little talk on the Crease Dive IG. But from what I saw, he looked good. And by what I mean, he looked good. He stopped a Romar Dennis shot, which was going top titty. So I was very impressed with Drake.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Chrome at so what was that number there? Chrome at plus 350 right before the tournament gets started. I think that's good, dude. Like Dylan Malloy going up against short sticks this whole tournament is going to be a problem. Not a lot of guys are going to want that matchup. Wisnauskas, I'd imagine, is kind of the same way as a Romar Dennis, where as soon as he steps over the midfield line, he can just let it rip and tear down the back of the net. Yeah, I mean, dude, think about when's the last time that Heacock has gone up against a short stick? And that's the same thing with a lot of these guys, right? So, I don't think that Grant Ament has seen a short stick since elementary school. So, it's definitely going to be. A lot of guys are going to be able to take advantage of that, but I think, the makeup of the Chrome, I think that's a nice greasy team to get behind heading into this tournament.
They just got just the pure size of Cole Williams, Logan Wisnauskas, and Heacock got bigger. You're now that I'm thinking out loud.
Heacock's neck is the size of the field.
Yeah, it's also legitimately he has to wear 2 Q collars. I heard.
Yeah, how everyone you had that friend on your lacrosse team who his head was way too big. Toga had to do this too, but head way too big, so they had to fuse 2 CPXs together in order for it to fit his head.
Yes.
That's Heacock. They have to fuse 2 Q collars together just to get it around his neck.
Like an attachment.
Yeah.
How Shaq has to get customized sneakers from wherever. Heacock has to get a customized Q collar.
It's girthy.
It's also it's interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, obviously this is just similar from their field rosters, but how the archers are going more obviously just more skill. You think of it more skill, and I think I'd probably compare them more to I think they're just more skillful when Chrome is just going for what you said. All it seems like size, and it's worked from them. I wonder how it's gonna be conditioning wise, because I only saw one half. When it comes down to 2 halves, what's gonna happen? I think conditioning is gonna be key.
Imagine if Messenger was on this roster.
I miss him.
He might be the one guy who I'm the most upset that isn't going to be playing in this tournament. That could be obviously we're missing guys like Jeff Teat. That'd be awesome. But
I don't want them to play. It's crazy. I don't want any Canadians to play. This is great. We're putting the lax back in America.
But between Jeff Teat, Schreiber, Rambo, or Zed, Messenger is the guy that I want to see.
I already know my bit on Sunday. I already know exactly what bit I'm going to play on Twitter. Want me to send it to you? The real winner of 6s?
I agree. And it's a good bit to have. All right. Well, so we've got, six round robin games. The first game on Wednesday, which, depending on when we're able to get this episode out. 5:30 p.m. That's on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. 7:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. The Thursday games on ESPN Plus. Listen up right now, because at the very least, we're getting this episode out on Thursday before these games happen. Make sure that you are locked and loaded on ESPN Plus at 6:30 p.m. and at 8:30 p.m. We've got Whip Snakes and Archers and Atlas and Chrome. Make sure you're watching both of those games, because our very sweet boy Jake Marsh will be on the call for both of those games. So get involved with those games for sure, both of them on ESPN Plus. Then the Friday games, 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. First game on ESPN2, second on ESPN Plus. I don't know. Like I think that gives us there's not it's not like the craziest week of college lacrosse, and especially we don't have a great game on Friday.
Yeah.
So I am very happy with these Friday night championship series games. Like usually, I mean, like last week, the Duke Denver game might be one of my favorite games that I've watched in a while. It was just it was a great Friday night lacrosse game, and by great I mean like also horrifically sloppy at times. But like that game ruled. So I would have been a little upset to have to miss some of that game to keep my eye on sixes. But
split it up. That's why we're the that's why we're the best. That's why we're the best. We got 4 eyes everywhere. But just really quick, just going off the Duke, I think I'm doubling down. I still think that they're going to be great. I think I figured out their problems, and I think it's their second midfield has to step up. Like they're not getting the production from their entire midfield unit that they need. The attack is dirty. Like Brendan O'Neill right now, I said this, I tweeted it. The Tourton race is going to be insane between. Like Kavanaugh had a great first 2 games. I saw,
but at this point, is it Pat Cav or Chris Cav?
No, I know, but even Pat Cav, like it's insane to even say. Pat Cav, I think after 1 game was 3rd in the NCAA and like something like assists per game or assist turnover ratio, and it was like I think maybe 3rd in the country in assist. It was something insane where it was like 1 game in. But him, Brennan, Shelley, Chris, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah. And then if there's like hypothetically like a line out there for Harvard, Virginia, where it was like hypothetically plus 5.5, what a backdoor.
I mean, that's a game. Let's all right. So PLL Championship Series. That's pretty much any closing remarks on that. And you know, like we'll get out of episode 2 maybe after the game on Sunday, or we'll try to get we'll get something out in early next week once the championship series wraps up, just to recap everything that went down. Anything else though to talk about before we move on to the college season?
Make sure that you are following. I'm not going to dump this. I'll put some stuff up on the Crease dive, but make sure that you are following me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, for all the content at the facility. Follow Billy, follow PMT, follow Jordie, just because he'll have eyes everywhere. Maybe we'll see some things that I didn't see. Should be a great weekend. Again, if you are listening to this Wednesday before you're in the area, Thursday before you're in the area, $25, bottomless beers. Bar Down Beer Garden should be a great time, and keep your eye out for exclusive bets on the Barstool Sportsbook.
I'll tell you what, 25 for all you can drink. What a deal. What a deal. All right. So that is the championship series. Now let's just, we'll keep this a little brief because we're, already a half an hour into the show. Last week in the college lacrosse, so not nearly as crazy as 2 weeks ago. Right. It weren't as many like massive upsets, but I'd say definitely some more intriguing scores. Definitely a lot of interesting scores that happened around the country. So we already talked about, that Duke Denver game, which by the way, I mean, just what a moment though for Brendan O'Neill, right? To get that goal to tie it up in the final minute. And then everyone knew the moment that game went to overtime that it was going to end in his stick. So huge moment for O'Neill. Then you mentioned the Virginia Harvard game. So nice little backdoor there for Harvard, dude. That game, so I didn't even watch the second half, right? So Virginia, they put up the 20 spot in the first half. So I figured, all right, cool. Like my shift of watching lacrosse on Saturday is done. So I went to go meet up with a couple friends, go out to dinner, get out of the car. All of a sudden, it's a 5-goal game. So I think it was just one take that maybe Diggs pointed out, but people are upset right now at Virginia. They think that Virginia might be on fraud alert because they can't cover right now, despite the fact that they put up 20 goals in the first half against Harvard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they're a good team. Are they a great team? Good teams win, great teams cover. Thank you, Big Cat.
Thank you, Big Cat. But dude, I was 10 points for Shelley. And like, here's it, like, if they put up 20 goals in the first half, like let's say, no offense, Wagner, but let's say that Virginia had Wagner on their schedule and they put up 20 goals in the first half, like I'm saying to myself, like, all right, like honestly, to be expected. To do that against a team that came in with a top 20 ranking, a team that were in the tournament last year, right?
Yeah. And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that again, if you're the Harvard goalie, I think I said this to you. You gotta save some shots, buddy. I don't care if you're getting fucking shelled. I know you're going against like one of the best cross players in the world right now. You can't have 12% save percentage. You just can't. It's not the recipe to win a game. I also was trying to look, since I was kind of just following it on my phone and was watching highlights because I was in Michigan. I was trying to see the face-off disparity because my big concern with Harvard going in was how are they going to do with the face-offs, just like in general this year. So I'm going to just quickly look that up when my hotel Wi-Fi sucks.
Let's see if I can get there for you faster. All right, so face-offs. Peter LaSalla went 62%, 18 for 29. And then Mac Eldridge went 9 for 20. So obviously, kind of the second, it's tough to really judge that game just because the second half of that game wasn't actually
you're focused on how many beers. You're like, let's just be real. If you're Virginia, you're focused on who's having the pregame. You're focused on who's having the party that night. Like, it's a beautiful day at Klockner, sun setting. You're after the first half, you're worried about your night.
The starting lineup already had the group text going in the second half. So
yeah, it's like the Notre Dame goalie last year who was like on the phone or whatever, like on the sidelines. Like that was Shelley in the second half.
That poor kid. They said that he was like tracking stats.
Yeah. Even if he was, please don't tell me that. And then the second thing that I was going to say is, at what point are we going to start talking about Virginia? Like, I think I said like Duke going down as like one of the best teams ever, which I'll retract. I'll admit, and big of me, I'll admit I was wrong. Are we going to talk about that with Virginia at some point? Like, if they run the ACC.
So here's they could either. I mean, here's the thing. If they win a national championship this year, and I think that Virginia is a pretty clear number one right now. I think I like Notre Dame kind of being up there too. We'll see with like a Yale and stuff like that. But like Virginia is like such like a clear number one right now. And yeah, I mean, if they win 3 out of the last 4 national championships, like, because we talked about that Maryland team being one of the best teams ever, like a single season team. Like this run of Virginia dominance, that's where like you go back and you rival like those Syracuse teams or those Princeton teams that were just running shit for years and years and years.
If they win, and then they basically can win it again next year. I mean, I know it's like different. I think Lars, if he wins this year, is in GOAT status. Not GOAT. I'm not going to say he's the GOAT, like undisputed.
But in GOAT,
like,
yeah.
Like you're
in the GOAT conversation.
Yes, and he's fuck. Oh my god, his big man is so fucking hard. But yeah,
what the that fired up about Lars, huh? That you're just gonna. What was Lars, that? Was that hand? Was that elbow?
I think that was my fucking knee, and I think Tim Desco just kicked me under the table. But yeah, I think that Lars enters the GOAT conversation because he doesn't seem like he'll retire anytime soon.
No, I mean, what is he, like 50? Maybe a little bit, maybe like 60.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to respect the creator. Like maybe he
Yeah.
just time is up. I've done everything.
Read a couple books, throw around the old wooden spoon. No, but so if you want to talk about face-off disparity, though, being the cause that really turned the tides for a game this past weekend, look no further than Maryland Syracuse. Probably one of the more intriguing scores over the weekend. So Maryland gets the 15-12 win over Syracuse. Biggest reason, I think, Luke Weirman goes 24 for 31. So he goes 77% at the faceoff stripe in that game. So yeah, definitely best in the country. And I mean, you don't get all those extra possessions. You don't keep the ball out of Spalina's stick that long. Listen, we saw the no looker BTB, one of the best highlights of the season so far. It was his only goal of the game. Obviously had a tough order ahead of him going up against Makar, but I mean, 77% at the X in a 3-goal game against, an offense that can put up a lot of points. Luke Weirman, probably MVP of the weekend with that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to be the one to say it, but you might have jumped the gun a little bit on your boy.
No.
All right. I didn't want to say it.
He didn't have the greatest first half of all time. I think the Maryland defense really stepped up for him. But I mean, if we're gonna say that he didn't play his part in the second half, we'd be lying to ourselves. He played a great second half. Again, it just all comes down to just like seeing more shots, getting first team reps. I think he had a good, not a great debut. It's not like he got like shelled by any chance, but yeah, I think that he'll slowly start playing his best lacrosse. And again, this is something about Teddy Dolan that not many state champion Teddy Dolan, freshman starter Teddy Dolan for a little bit that people might not understand is Teddy Dolan steps up in big games, and Maryland plays a lot of big games, so.
Big time players make big time plays and big time moments. That's
all right.
Teddy Dolan's model. By the way, would love to see Dante Trader in sixes.
Yeah, I would love to see Dante Trader stop hiding behind his keyboard and do a goalie challenge with me. But people just don't want the smoke. Charlotte North doesn't want the smoke.
Has Dante Trader broached the subject, or has he just
let's just say hypothetically, I commented on a TikTok of his. Like that's it.
Yeah, all right. Well, so Maryland, they survive game against Syracuse there, but Syracuse honestly looked pretty solid, all things considered. So maybe not fully in the back category. One team that is definitely not back, and you can take that to the bank. It was a fraudulent back call. Johns Hopkins Blue Jays, they go down and they get smoked by Loyola 13-8. At no point really did it seem like Hopkins had a chance in that one. So Loyola is Loyola more of a wagon, or is Hopkins back more of a fraud?
Charlie Toomey's a good coach.
Okay, that's fair.
Which neither of us really had too big of an opinion. As soon like when we said is Loyola what's going on in Loyola country, I think that we didn't really factor in too much how good of a coach Toomey is, and it seems like he just might still be a good coach. And I think that their star will rise to the top. They got a good keep.
Yeah. I also think it's really tough. Cool. It's really tough to beat a team with a guy that has the name Mustang Sally on the roster.
Yeah.
So, trying to think anything else that was intriguing from over. Well, so Ohio State holding UNC to 5 goals.
Best team in the country. I think I said last episode that you could make the argument them or Maryland. And I think that they both had great showings. That Teddy could have played better, but the Maryland defense I thought played pretty well and gave Teddy shots he wanted to see. And I think again he'll start seeing the ball more and more, and will play best games and help the Maryland defense. But Jesus freaking Christ, that Bobby Van Buren's a beast. I think he might be the best defender in the country. Ohio State defense as a unit just looked legit.
And it's not like USC has like the most explosive offense you'll ever see, but like to hold a team of that caliber to 5 goals in the era of the shot clock, pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Oh, I'll just get this really quick. I went to Michigan Hofstra, and the Michigan facility blew me away. Really nice field. Um, I could definitely like the thing I think that stopped me from going to Michigan was one being good at lacrosse, and two being smart. So it was really tough for me to ever make my way to Ann Arbor as a recruit because you have to be smart and good at lacrosse, and I was neither. And the facility was just unbelievable. Great color game between Hofstra and Michigan, and it was amazing to like being in the Midwest and having like the Michigan, fan base and like the Midwest lacrosse fans, and then just getting hit in the face. Like they got hit in the fucking face with a bunch of flid dads and moms just screaming, calling bullshit at the refs. It was amazing. Like I was sitting with Marty Mush and Hunter, and they were like, they were just talking to the Long Island parents. I was like, look, you guys don't get it. Like this jacks me up. Like I'm ready to fucking go right now. Like
you could just smell the sausage and peppers coming from the tailgate in the
you
parking
could
lot.
smell the Suffolk County all over them, and they were just like, "This is great."
Yeah, dude, it is kind of shocking how long it's taking Maryland to really,
Michigan?
yeah, because like, and like here's the thing that they've lost the gap because when they first came into D1, like they had like the sickest facility, like they had a great facility, they had all the amenities, like they had what would draw you to go there and to like build a program, and like they just kind of fumbled that bag a little bit.
You know what I think it is? I think it's from what my only takeaway from it was, which I thought was the recruit wise, is how cold it is and how like I wonder how much more recruits would go if it started March 1st.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. It doesn't really make sense to do that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely plays effect, like, especially too, because like I feel like it's got to be tough to go there and not play, right? Like if you're sitting the bench at Michigan, like you have to like look to transfer right away because you got to be freezing your bag off during games. Let's see. The Cornell, they had to fight for their lives against Albany, but they were able to pull that one out at the end. Rutgers, they go down to Army. So, dude, I can't watch another Army game though. I'll be honest. Like, just the uniforms are just so horrific. Black cleats, white socks, black shorts, white jersey, white hat. Like it just looks so bad. Oh, well, so here's one question. This might be maybe the last thing that we talk about with this past week in college lacrosse, and then we can kind of just move on and do a quick preview for this upcoming weekend. But Penn taking down Georgetown. So Penn opens up their season down in DC against Georgetown. Georgetown now drops 2 straight games out of the gates.
Yeah.
So they lose to Hopkins and they lose to Penn. And now you have to start wondering, like, how much does a win against Georgetown boost your resume at this point?
Yeah, I would just wish that there was like a lacrosse guy out there, just like somebody that could just spew bullshit into him, like, and just like one thing sticks to the wall and just like fucking nail a take. And I mean, I hate to do it. They're gonna make the fucking Final Four. I'm gonna shut my mouth, but I'll say this: I'm in DC right now, and not to brag, I just went for a run. And I mean, Jordie, I was running all around DC just looking for a Hoyas W. I mean, the basketball team can't win, the lacrosse team can't win. I'm looking everywhere. I can't find a Hoyas W anywhere. So if anyone's in the area and can help me find a dub, like let me know.
Yeah, closest thing that I could find. I saw like Golf Digest tweet out a picture today of a young Tiger Woods making his debut at the Honda Classic, and he was wearing a Georgetown hat. So that's got to count for something. Yeah. So that would have been in like 1997. So good for Georgetown on that win. But no, so 0-2 out of the gates. Not looking great for Georgetown, especially because it wasn't even like Sam Hanley was the one. Sam Hanley had a goal in that game. So it wasn't even like they just let the big man eat. Cam Rubin, 4 goals on the day. And then the rest of it was just family style. Everybody eats. But yeah, so great first win for Penn. And that could probably take us into this weekend's, just previewing a couple of the games here, because I will be making trip over to Penn on Saturday at 1:00. So Penn will be taking on Duke. I believe that if there were to be a hypothetical line on that one, Penn would be favored by 1.5. So Duke coming off that overtime win against Denver, coming over to Penn. I don't really know how to feel about this game one way or another. I don't know how to call a winner or not. I will say that a few years ago, Penn was able to pull off the upset against Duke at home, which I think Duke was either number 1 or number 2 at the time. So this time, kind of flipping the script a little bit, Penn being the favorites in this one, but should be a great game to watch. Just a lot of sickos playing lacrosse, like Sam Hanley, Brendan O'Neill, Dyson Williams. A lot of future and current first overall picks in that one.
That'd be good.
Trying to think other games coming up this week. Again, the Friday slate, not all that great. Georgetown and Notre Dame. So, things do not get easier for Georgetown at all. Notre Dame just been really feeling it these first couple games. Did you see that behind the back assist from Chris Cav in the Cleveland State game? Almost like a little 180, turns his back to it. So they're clearly feeling some type of way. Do you think that you're probably the absolute worst person to ask. You're the worst person to ask in this one, but could Georgetown turn their season around?
It's a must win. It's a must win. I mean, it's a hungry dogs run faster sort of game. So it's like, well, if Georgetown won, would I be shocked? No. But I mean, when you're just like, when you're Notre Dame and you're an alum like myself, and you just Notre Dame doesn't worry about the Georgetowns of the world. We worry about the Marylands.
Wow. And that you're very lucky right now that the Chaos aren't playing. Well, very lucky that the Chaos aren't playing. I was going to say that you're lucky that the Chaos aren't playing in the championship series, because Jack Rowlett would have to come slide high and late to your dome right now. The only issue is that you're in DC at the moment, so you better get out of there before Jack listens to that one.
Yeah, well, we're actually going to drop this on Sunday.
Catch you way out of DC before there's a chance. All right. So in that game, if there were a hypothetical line, Notre Dame would be favored by 2.5. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see this Notre Dame team going a nice little run this whole season. Penn State and Yale is typically a good game, but I think that Yale probably just runs away with that one. Syracuse, UNC. This could be a good statement game for Cuse coming out of that tight loss against Maryland.
Good statement game for UNC. So we're going to be on opposite sides of this?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that.
Let's go.
All right. Yeah, I think the wins that Syracuse has piled up so far this season, perfectly fine wins, but nothing crazy, nothing stands out. I think that the best game on their resume is a tight loss against Maryland. So this will be a good chance for them to get a big win. And you're going with the Tar Heels getting themselves back on track. All right, I like that one. A little bit of adversity hitting the crease dive. Virginia and Ohio State. So this game is going to be played down in Florida.
Nice.
So a little neutral site action. It is the Southwest Florida Shootout. So Virginia, Ohio State. The other game is Marquette and Michigan, which I'm sure everyone has circled on their schedules. But Virginia, Ohio State. All right? So Virginia. So Virginia clearly just fucking sickos all over the place on offense. Ohio State, best defense.
It's one of those things. So this is why when you're listening to this right now, take Ohio State, because what I'm about to say is just going to mush the fuck out of the Cavaliers. It's almost going to be like one of those, like, remember when like Maryland were playing Virginia last year, and we're like, it's got to be close. Like, you can't get blown away twice, and then they just did it again and again and again, and they just kept blowing people out. I think Virginia is just going to keep blowing people out in the beginning of the year. Like, I think that you can only do so much against Shelley. I really underestimated, and I think that people who have listened to the past couple of years know how highly I think of Connor Schellenberger. I really underestimated how big of a dog he is and how much of a leap he'd make as a man, as like just like a leader is this year. It won't be close. Like I'm talking like 20-8.
So now my question: does Connor Schellenberger play in the fourth quarter? That should be the biggest. That should be the line for every Virginia game for the rest of the season: is does Shelley finish the game, or does he get to just sit on the bench for the final 15 minutes?
If Bobby Van Buren held him to 0 goals, 6 assists, it'd be a day and a half. I'd be like, he locked him down.
Clamped.
Yeah, clamped. Rutgers Loyola. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it, but Loyola, just because they're playing Rutgers.
Wait, is that
Saturday at 1? Right? It's like probably top 10 at this point.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So I still not. Oh yeah, totally missed that one on the schedule. Yeah, I think this will. I guess this will probably be a. I don't know. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to
say it. Are you going to call it a fraud bowl?
No, I'm not going to call it a fraud. Like I'm actually not totally down on Rutgers. I've spent my whole life hating Rutgers. I think I kind of like them this year. Mostly just because I like watching Ross Guy. He's a fun guy to watch. Hit a nice little finalizer against Army. So clearly he hates the troops because I think he's stuck a man in the back of the net. No, I think that this will be another good little test to see how much truth there is in the Greyhounds buzz, if that makes sense.
I like Loyola in this. It'll be a good game though.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about this weekend is a lot of games on BTN Plus and a couple good ones on Flow Sports. The BTN Plus is something that we need to get rid of. So like if you are paying for the Big Ten network already, then what's the point of BTN Plus? I guess that's kind of the same thing with like if you're paying and you have ESPN on your regular cable package, why should you pay for ESPN Plus? But to do it for the Big Ten, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
Agree.
Yeah, and then Flow Sports, I think someone put out like you have to pay like $150 up front for the whole, like you can't even do like a month by month subscription. So if you want to watch Big East lacrosse this year, that's a nice little $150 investment that you're making.
Not doing it, which is unfortunate, but like,
maybe if Georgetown was piecing together a couple better games, I would at least consider it. But
every man has to have a code. Like every man has a code. I simply will not.
Will not, never will. All right, cool. Well, yeah, so that's pretty much what's on deck for this weekend. And then obviously, once all those games wrap up, although I believe the Virginia Ohio State game's at 7, so that will interfere a little bit. But most of those games going off on the weekend. And then the semifinals for the PLL Championship Series, they get going at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So your entire weekend is planned. So make sure that you're getting get your spot locked and loaded for where you're going to be watching these games. Get your beverages of choice, food of choice. Got a big weekend of lacrosse ahead of us. Make sure that you are following us on social. We are at the Crease Dive on Twitter, Instagram, and I've been getting some. Did you start a Crease Dive TikTok account?
Yeah, I started a new one because I couldn't find the password for the old one. So we're the Stool Crease Dive on TikTok. I mean, a lot of people have been saying in the TikTok world, I think the kids are saying we next up. So yeah. We're next up on TikTok. So yeah, give us a follow.
So follow us there. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Maybe throw in a couple likes and comments while you're at it too. It goes a long way. So we're the Crease Dive on YouTube. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. Make sure to buy Doogs and Billy a bunch of beers this week if you were at the championship series. We out.